Welcome to the Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. I am one of your two co-hosts, Brandon.
Yeah, with you as always is Tyler.
Tyler, we were just talking about how long it's been since we've done a show in studio. This is crazy. You just look so different, Tyler. You've grown up so much.
I know. You look tan and refreshed and relaxed.
Wow,
you look like you just took a trip to Hawaii.
Well, Tyler, I did just take a trip to Hawaii, and I'll talk about that in just a second, but we've got a lot to cover here, including some breaking UK football news.
Breaking news.
Literally minutes before we hit the record button, which is kind of crazy. We're going to talk about the Jalen Duren recruitment. We're going to talk about Rand Paul, masks in schools, Long John Silver's maybe going bye-bye, which is sad, and we're going to talk about our top guilty pleasure movies in the last segment. I'm very excited about that.
It's going to be great fun. We're going to do a little bit fewer topics today because I feel like when we get to our guilty pleasure movies, I feel like we're going to have some good discussion there and a lot of making fun of each other.
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. There's no question about it. But, Tyler, what episode is it? What are we on right now?
This is episode 65, I believe. So we are at the retirement age episode.
Ooh, I like it.
65. Do you think you'll retire when you turn 65, or are you just going to keep working until you die?
There's not a snowball's chance in France. I would like to retire at 55, to be honest with you. 65 is nice, but, I'm out. It's not for me.
I'm with you. If I could retire now, I totally would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sign me up for the RV, traveling across the country, whatever people do when they're retired. I'm in. I'm in right now.
They get those scooters.
Scooter, okay.
Those motorized scooters.
The Rascal scooters?
Because like in the commercial, they go to the top of the Grand Canyon on the Rascal scooter, right?
Yeah.
And then when I go to Disney World, there's scooters everywhere. There are scooters galore. And they're like running over people. They're hitting small children. They'll run over your feet while you're in line. It's pretty crazy. But that's the dream, I think.
I can't think of anything else I would rather do than ride around in a Pascal scooter. No, Pascal. Rascal.
Oh,
Josh Pascal has a new line of skit. That's the new name, image, likeness sponsorship.
Yeah, Rascal Scooters is missing out on a huge opportunity with Josh Pascal, the Pascal scooter. Tyler, I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. We took a 2-week break. I went on vacation. Tell me what you've done over the last 2 weeks. I'm sure you just got a ton accomplished.
Oh, let me tell you, I watched more Boy Meets World in the last 2 weeks than any human has ever watched in 2 weeks. I went through all of season 4, and I believe I actually texted you this at one point. I was about halfway through season 4 of Boy Meets World, which if anybody listening, if you have Disney Plus and you aren't going through all the seasons of Boy Meets World, what are you doing? You're just wasting your subscription
Cancel
fee.
your membership, right?
Yeah, you're just wasting time and wasting money. You need to go watch Boy Meets World right now and go through, I believe there are 7 seasons, so I just finished season 4. And I texted you this while you were on vacation because I thought it was that important.
I know. I was drinking a Mai Tai and I get this text from Tyler. I'm like, oh my goodness, the podcast must have broken or the website's broken. But no, what did it say?
No, I had to interrupt you to let you know that I'm ready to go on record that season 4 of Boy Meets World is as good a season as any show in the history of television. Season 4, Boy Meets World. I'm just putting that out there. Brandon, what are your initial thoughts to that statement?
You definitely put it out there, Tyler. I'll give you credit for that. You definitely put something out there. Now, on the other hand, I like Boy Meets World. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I just don't remember the seasons. You know what I mean? So when you say season 4, I don't know what episodes are in season 4, so it's really hard for me to say. If I'm thinking off the top of my head, I would say season 4 of Breaking Bad or season 4 of The Office are probably my favorite seasons of any show.
Yeah, those are decent shows. Yeah, not bad.
Decent? What the hell, Tyler? Those are pieces of art.
Well, listen, I would have put them number 1 until this past week when I finished season 4 of Boy Meets World. Now, can I just go through? Let me go through a few episodes here in season 4.
Give me the highlights. Like what's going on here? Okay,
so just to and you tell me if you think any of these are just not iconic.
And they're in high school at this point?
Yes, this is junior year of high school.
Junior year of high school.
At John Adams High School.
Okay.
Of course, Boy Meets World, the great TGIF show from the mid-'90s.
It's amazing.
You have the episode where Topanga cut her hair off.
Oh.
You have the episode where Corey's dad quits his job and opens up the outdoor store.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of my favorite episodes, the episode where Eric dates the girl who writes the song It's like an Alanis Morissette spoof where she writes the Shallow Boy song. You have the episode where Eric goes on Singled Out. Do you remember Singled Out?
Tyler, I love Singled Out.
All about Singled Out.
With Chris Hardwick and Jenny McCarthy.
Yes, and then later Carmen Electra.
Yeah, of course.
But, I mean, dude, that just brought back so many memories. And then getting to the more truly iconic episodes, Topanga's Sweet 16 Party episode.
It's a good
You remember what happened in that one?
Give me the rundown, Tyler.
Well, it featured a certain WWF superstar.
Oh, Vader.
Vader. And Corey was trying to do the Fred Flintstone, where he went back and forth between the wrestling match and Topanga's 16th birthday party. And, of course, ends up missing the dance with Topanga for her birthday. And then, of course, they pull some strings and they dance in the wrestling ring at the end of the episode. Just a classic scene. But then you also...
I mean, it's right up there, Tyler. Everybody references the Vader wrestling scene with Boy Meets World. It's a classic reference point. It's right up there with the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I was joking, but go ahead.
And then you have the episodes where Topanga moves to Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
When her family makes her move.
That was tough.
She runs away to come back to Philadelphia to Corey, and her aunt agrees to let her come stay with her. And then, of course... maybe the best episode ever of Boy Meets World.
Okay, this is the climax, Tyler. What do we got?
When Sean joins the cult. Remember the cult episode? I know you remember.
Tyler, Sean was always into shenanigans. He was always into something. You know, he always had something going on. He was the troublemaker.
Yes.
But such a nice kid at the same time. I was always conflicted with Sean because he always did the wrong thing, but you were always pulling for him to come through in the end.
And he did. He was good to his core. At his heart, he was a good person. And at the end of the episode, that's when Mr. Turner gets in the motorcycle accident, and that's what pulls him away from the cult. It's to go check on Mr. Turner in the hospital, which coincidentally was his last episode. Mr. Turner was never seen or heard from again.
That's one of life's great mysteries.
Isn't it?
It really is.
What happened to Mr. Turner?
You know, it's right up there with what happened to Kelly Kapowski in Saved by the Bell when she wasn't on there for like half a season, and they replaced her with Tori.
Wait, Kelly wasn't on there during those episodes?
I never
realized that.
You go back and watch, Tyler, it'll blow your mind.
So you're telling me when Tori was on, there was no Kelly?
And I want to say that there was no Jesse.
What?
Or it was either no Jesse or no Lisa.
Oh, my goodness. My mind is just blown right
Tyler,
now. And anybody who doesn't watch 90s sitcoms has no idea what we're talking about
Well, they've already turned it off. But that's okay. Go back and watch the episodes with Tori and look who's in the credits at the beginning. It'll blow your mind.
Oh my!
And you don't realize it, but they're not in the episodes.
You're right. That never dawned on me.
But then they come back at the end.
This is just.
Now you've got more homework to do, Tyler. Well, it sounds like you got a lot accomplished. I'm so happy that you have taken the last 2 weeks break. Because, you know, when we took the break, we were like, yeah, we need a break. We got a lot of stuff we got to accomplish. I'm glad that you took the time and devoted it to something like that.
You know, you got to have your priorities in order, you know, once you get in your mid-30s. And I prioritize Boy Meets World is what
I can clearly see that, Tyler. It's an interesting way to do it.
Yeah. So enough about me and Boy Meets World. What have you been up to?
Tyler, listen.
You've had a lot going on as well.
Tyler, listen to this. I spent 10 nights in Maui. I flew to Maui. 6.5 hour flight there and back from Denver and Dallas, regardless of which one you leave from. 6.5 hours. We left out of I don't even know where we left from, Cincinnati or something like that, and we came back to Lexington. Long flight. The kids did really well. We took our 2 kids with us. They were perfect on the plane, no problems at all. In fact, my 7-year-old said, "I like these long plane rides. I can get a lot of stuff done." And I was like, oh, this is crazy.
What did he get done? I'm curious.
I've played a lot on his iPad, Plants vs. Zombies. And then, you know, on the bigger planes, you know, they have the 3 sections of seats for this.
Yeah.
You've been to Hawaii, you know.
Sure.
They, you know, so you don't feel any turbulence. The planes are gigantic. You know what I mean? And we got the seat in the back of the plane. You know, when you have to walk past the first class people that basically have their own cubicle, can sleep, do whatever they want to do.
Right.
And then in the back are all the peasants like me.
Yeah,
but I looked at the seating map, and the main back seat on each side of the plane has only 2 seats in each row, meaning that you've got all the legroom in the world without paying for first class seats. So we took those last 4 seats, 2 on each side.
Nice.
And I could stretch out and live like a king back there.
And you're right by the restroom?
Right by the restroom, right by the flight attendant. So, hey, can I get an extra bag of pretzels?
Oh,
yeah.
Dude.
I mean, I walked back there. I got to know them. They're like, yeah, go ahead. Here's some Cheez-Its. And it was awesome. So I highly recommend, don't pay for the first class ticket. Take the back row. You've got all the leg room in the world. There's no need.
I think you've just found an entire loophole to airplane ticket purchasing.
Look at the seating map. It will blow your mind. Just like the Saved by the Bell thing. So anyway, we get there. We go out to the beach. We stay at the Hyatt Regency or Grand Hyatt or one of those properties.
Sure.
I'm not sure. And we stayed for free, by the way. This trip costs $13,500 or $900 if you pay out of pocket. We paid for it all with points, miles, and free night certificates. So all of our flights and all of our hotels were free.
I like free.
Free. It's a beautiful thing. So we stay on the beach. We go out there the first day. I get sunburned like crazy.
Oh, no.
I'm like...
Rookie mistake, man.
Rookie mistake.
On.
I got such a bad sunburn. I got sunburn on my lips.
Ooh.
And I didn't realize it at first. The next day I woke up, I said, my lips are on fire. I'm not sure what's going on. And at one point, they turned like a brownish color.
Oh, no.
Oh, it was nasty. So I had to like hide them in pictures. So you'll see me in a lot of the pictures from the vacation, just like in the background, like, hey, how's it going? Because I couldn't be front and center. So it's kind of interesting. Now, a couple days later, my wife says, I have stuff to help treat your lips. This is 2 or 3 days after my suffering. She says, here, I've got this stuff to help treat sunburnt lips. Oh, thanks for the help.
Information that could have been useful yesterday.
Yeah, so I went in with the intention of getting rid of my T-shirt tan, right? Because, T-shirt tan, you're pale, and then you're tan on your arms. I was like, I'm going to fix my T-shirt tan. Well, I fixed it, but when I put my sunblock on, I guess I missed some spots, and now I've got like blotchy tan parts all over me. I look like a friggin' giraffe.
Oh, that's great.
So I went from a T-shirt tan to a giraffe tan. I've got like, a tan spot here, a tan spot here. It looks absolutely ridiculous, Tyler. It reminds me of the 40-year-old virgin when they shave his chest and he has like a smiley face. That's kind of what I look like, except mine's like a freeform art kind of
like
looking.
Like a man-o'-lantern.
A man-o'-lantern, exactly. But we had a really good time. We went to the beach every day. The resort we stayed at, we stayed at 2 different resorts. The second one had 9 swimming pools, Tyler.
That seems like a lot.
And you take.
Did you go to all of them?
Well, here's what you do: you get to the one at the top, and you take slides down to each pool, so they all connect. And then there's a river rapids and lazy river; they all connect. It's pretty crazy. But the beach was amazing. There were no seashells on the beach. 0.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed that when you were there. We had 0 seashells on the beach.
Interesting.
Not one time. It blew my mind. I'm not sure what to think about that.
I don't know why. We need somebody with a science background to tell us why there are no seashells.
No seaweed, no seashells. Really strange. But overall, very good trip. Aside from the sunburn, we'd had a lot of fun, and we'll probably end up going back at some point to another island.
That's awesome. Did you get to see the gym where they play the Maui Invitational by chance?
No, I missed that.
That wasn't on your.
I don't think I could have gotten Kayla to go do that.
Oh, okay.
That could have been a little bit of a problem. But overall, really good time. I came back home. I was 198.9 pounds. I ate so much food. They had this taco truck, Tyler, that was at the resort.
Well, I don't know how much you were before that, so I don't really know if that's a lot or not.
It's a lot. So there was a food truck that served tacos for lunch and dinner at the resort right on the beach. So every single day for lunch and dinner, you know what I had?
Tacos.
Taco. I didn't even leave. I was like, taco truck, I'm not going anywhere.
Why would you?
I mean, tacos the entire time. Since I've been back, Tyler, I have lost over 9 pounds. And I've been back less than a week.
Well, I know part of that's because you ran in a race last night, too.
I ran the big mistake, by the way. Come back from vacation, run the 5K Midsummer Nights run. I finished in 30 minutes and 23 seconds, so way slower than normal, but I had only run 2 5Ks this entire year for training, and one of them was in the spring, so that doesn't even help me. I ran another one 2 weeks before vacation. I'm just glad I didn't die.
That's still impressive, man. Anytime you can get close to 30 minutes, that's good. That's solid.
If the race would have been a quarter mile longer, Tyler, I would have died. If it was a 6K, I'd be a goner.
It's a good thing it's not a 5.1K.
Oh, jeez. But overall, a good 2 weeks. It sounds like yours was way more fun, to be honest with you, with the Boy Meets World.
Well, I don't know about that, but it kept me entertained, which is really all that matters for myself, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. But let's just dive into it, Tyler. We don't have as many topics this week. Let's crank them out, get through it, and then let's get into our guilty pleasure movies at the end. I'm really excited about that. What do we got first, Tyler? I think we got breaking news.
All right, breaking news. Kentucky has its quarterback for the upcoming season. Sources have confirmed that Will Levis, the Penn State transfer, has been named as UK's starting quarterback, beating out
Joey Gatewood.
Yes, thank you.
That's all right. We just talked about it right for the show. It's been a long week. I get
It has.
The
Joey
Boy Meets
Gatewood
World.
and Bo Allen.
You were getting ready to say Corey, starting quarterback Corey, and back up to Panga. That's all right.
Oh, that's great. But anyway, so I think this is a surprise to absolutely nobody in Kentucky. I think that the source who broke this could have been anybody who follows UK sports.
We could have broken this 2 months ago.
Right.
We should have been the first ones to break this time.
Absolutely. So not really, surprising news, but it is now official. Will Levis will be the guy. Brandon, what are your thoughts when you saw this come out?
Well, you see the clips on Instagram and on Twitter of what he can do. He's naturally gifted to do things. And from the reports from Vince Marrow a few days ago, he's saying that Will Levis can basically get the ball down the field better than anybody else on the team, while also saying that Bo Allen and Joey Gatewood have improved quite a bit, which is great. Apparently, Joey Gatewood didn't take the news very well because he has now entered the transfer portal.
More breaking news.
But what are you going to do? Joey Gatewood started out at Auburn, I believe, transferred here to get a starting role, which he probably thought he had coming into this year. You got to think he thought, okay, this is my chance. I'm going to do something this year. And he greatly improved according to the coaches. But when you get a new offensive coordinator with Liam Cohen, he had a good idea of who he wanted initially from the get-go. Both he and Levis had a relationship from prior recruiting.
Yep.
And the writing was on the wall. I think Joey Gatewood knew it. He probably gave it a really good try. And you kind of had to feel like one of those guys might not take the news as well. And I don't blame Gatewood by any means, but it's still good that we have a competent backup quarterback because
Absolutely.
from all reports so far, Bo Allen has stepped up and is doing better and doing good things. So I hate that somebody's leaving, but I don't feel terrible about it. We're going to see Allen at some point. You know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah, you go through the course of an SEC football season, you're going to get dinged up. Now, here's my question for you, Brandon. Do you think we have an improvement from quarterback play? Do you think Will Levis will be better than Terry Wilson?
Oh, there's no doubt. I don't know how Terry Wilson won the games he did. You know what I mean? He was the Trent Dilfer of UK football. People look at that team when they won the Super Bowl and like, how the heck do you win with Trent Dilfer? He was a game manager quarterback.
Yep.
He didn't really win any games for us. But he had a lot of really good players around him. He had a great offensive line and a great secondary on defense. I mean, we have a lot of other parts to help now. You know what I mean? If this was the Tim Couch era and Terry Wilson was our quarterback, we don't win because our defense couldn't stop anybody.
Right.
So Terry Wilson can't get you enough points to win. Terry Wilson had the benefit of playing with a really good defense and a very good offensive line.
Yes,
you put him on other teams 20 years ago, we'd lose a lot of games. Now, you put somebody like Will Levis, we'll have to see how he does, but if it's, according to reports, if he plays as well as he does and has all these complementary players, a great defense, we could do some really good things this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And I want to I want to see how good you think Levis is going to be. So you think he's going to be better than Terry? Just give me a yes or no answer.
Okay, yes or no?
Better than Steven Johnson?
Yes.
Better than Patrick Tolles?
Yes.
Better than Max Smith?
Yes. Better
than Mike Hartline?
Yes.
That's going back over a decade of quarterbacks. So you think this is going to be the best quarter? I'm assuming you're not thinking he's going to be better than Andre Woodson because that's a pretty
Andre
high
Woodson
bar.
starts the different level.
Okay.
Okay, you got Andre Woodson, you got Jared Lorenzen, you've got Dusty Bonner even for Pete's sake, Tim Couch, and then you had Shane Boyd in there as well. I mean, we have some really good quarterback play there for about 10 years.
We did.
We have won games the last several years with Mark Stoops as coach despite the quarterback play.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you're forgetting about one of our most productive quarterbacks, Lynn Bowden.
Right.
Now, I don't know if he's better than Lynn Bowden because Lynn Bowden literally won games for you.
He was incredible.
Yeah, he literally held up a sign and told the defense, here's the play. I'm going to go over there this time. And they would, he would get the ball and do it, and nobody could do anything about it. You know what I mean? That's how good of an offensive line that Terry Wilson had to play with. You know what I mean? So you put a quarterback with the arm and talent of Levis with an offensive line like that, you've got potential for something big.
Yeah, and if this turns out to be true, I mean, like I said, this could be the best quarterback we've had in over 10 years at Kentucky. We've had some fine quarterbacks in that time, but nobody great. This has the potential to be a guy that transcends the position unlike anybody we've had in quite a while.
Let's see how long of a leash Mark Stoops gives Liam Cohen, though. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because we know what happened. We know. He puts the reins on a few things, and he likes things done a certain way.
No doubt.
Let's see what happens there. That's kind of the unknown thing. We don't know how long of a leash he's going to give. One of his good friends, Eddie Grant, he gave a very short leash with certain things. So how is a newcomer like Cohen going to do with Stoops? I don't know.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see, no doubt. All right, what we got next, sir?
Tyler, something interesting to see, and something that we had kind of predicted earlier. Jalen Duren, one of the top players in this year's upcoming class, committed to Memphis over the Kentucky Wildcats. Wah, wah. Some people are taking the news as that's okay. We've still got a really good team. Other people are taking it as, why did we pass up on Kofi Cockburn to go all in on Jalen Duren, who we most likely weren't getting? Tyler, which camp are you in?
Well, I posted this on social media. If you follow us at LexBuds on Twitter, saying that this was Calipari not going after Kofi Cockburn is, I think, in retrospect, a dumb decision. I think it was a very dumb decision because we put all our eggs in this basket of getting Jalen Duren. It didn't pan out. By all reports, Kofi wanted to come here and would have come here had we put forth any interest. But for whatever reason, Cal didn't go after him, and now we're left with neither. At one point, it looked like, hey, we're going to at least get one of these guys. And now we end up with neither one of them. Mm-hmm. And I think it was a very dumb decision. And a lot of people responded kind of blasting me for saying that. Oh, you think Cal's dumb? Like, no, I do not think Cal's dumb. I think it was a dumb decision. And I'm amazed at the number of people who are just fine with us not getting either one of those guys. Like, oh, the roster's good as it is. We didn't need either one of those guys. You can't bring in guys. You can't over-recruit people. Like, since when? Since when have we turned down elite players because we're worried about somebody else not getting playing time? I don't give a rat's patoot whether somebody's worried about playing time. I want the best players. And now we have one center. One, Oscar Tshiebwe. Great. He has the potential to be great. And this may end up being fine. We may not have needed Jalen Duren or Kofi Cockburn, but it is now a big risk because if one, he doesn't pan out, or two, heaven forbid, he gets injured or just is foul prone all season, who do we have to turn to that's going to be a rim protector? We got nobody. And so it just amazes me the people who just completely put all their faith in Cal and just assume everything he does is fine and that we can't criticize Cal. I got so many comments like, let him coach. That's what he gets paid to do. You shouldn't be criticizing Cal. You act like you know more than he does. No, I don't know more than he does. But in this case, I think it was a huge mistake not to go after Cockburn.
Okay, first of all, I agree with you on these points. You never turn down a first-team All-American no matter what your roster looks like, First of all. Okay, that is a dumb mistake. And as far as over-recruiting, that's what Cal spent the first 5 years of his UK career doing, over-recruiting over other players. You know how successful we were during that time? Pretty darn successful.
Pretty good.
You know what we've done the last 5 years when he wasn't able to over-recruit? We've sucked. You know what happens when we let Cal coach and don't criticize and don't get on him? We win 9 games in a season. You know what happened right after that? He got 2 new assistant coaches and recruited his ass off because the fans were on his ass. Mm-hmm. Okay? So don't tell me that doesn't work. Suck it up, Buttercup. I would also say that the people that say don't criticize Cal will be the first ones to either criticize Trump or Biden. Oh, let them be president. They know what they're doing.
Exactly.
Go to their profile and see if they've ever criticized anybody. Let them do their job. Horse, SH, you know the rest. So I don't want to hear that bull. It's a load of crap. You can criticize whoever you want to. You can criticize me. You can criticize Tyler. But don't sit here and act like Cal is the Pope, for Pete's sake. He is not. He's a man, just like you a man, just like I'm a man.
That's right.
So I don't want to hear that you can't criticize anybody. There's nobody that's above being criticized, especially if they do a piss-poor job at the greatest college basketball program in history and only winning 9 games. You better bet we're on his ass, and he better do something about it and get the players that we need. The fact that he passed on Kofi Cockburn is a travesty. You never turn down a first-team All-American, no matter what your roster looks like. If we had 3 other centers that were third-team All-Americans and a first-team All-American comes up and says, I want to play, you take him. That's what you do here.
Absolutely, man. I mean, do you think Nick Saban at Alabama is worried about people's feelings being hurt or worried about him bringing in the best recruits? No. I mean, you bring in the best guys, and you let them fight it out to see who deserves the playing time.
Do you think Oscar Sheboy is going to get better every day in practice playing against Kofi Coburn, or do you think he's going to get better every day in practice playing against Damian Collins?
A true freshman.
Yeah. Which one do you think is going to improve Oscar Sheboy over the season and over his career? The way that Calipari sold this program initially was the practices are going to be harder than the games. The reason the way that you do that is to recruit multiple players at multiple positions.
Yep.
Our starting five may be fine, but what about the next? That's what's going to push these guys every day.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I'm just telling you, no matter what the circumstances, you never turn that down.
Yeah, I agree, man. He may be National Player of the Year. I mean, he was a second-team All-American last year. I think I don't think there were any first-team All-Americans coming back. So, I mean, he's a Player of the Year candidate. I mean, how do you turn that? Even if you think he doesn't fit the system, shoot, I'll take him just so that nobody else has him. I mean, so that we don't have to play him in the tournament.
And Kofi's the one that wanted to come here.
Yes.
It's not like you were poaching him. Some people say, well, they didn't want to ruffle any feathers. Horse crap. When Calipari first got here, you know where DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall were going? Memphis.
I think they were going to Memphis.
Where did John Calipari take them to? Kentucky. Didn't have any problem 10 years ago. That's the kind of recruiting that we need now. So if that's the excuse, it's not an excuse because 10 years ago, he didn't give a damn. He said, we're hanging banners, and he recruited Wall and Cousins to Kentucky. And Memphis got left with nothing.
Yep.
So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but it does stink. I mean, you look at the last 3-4 years, we missed out on Zion. We missed out on James Wiseman. We missed out on Cade Cunningham. And now we have missed out on another number one recruit. Mm-hmm. And it seems like we're always the second choice. We've just been the bridesmaid for these top players the last 4 or 5 years, and it sucks.
That's the way it is. That's why you don't count on getting those players. We have a history of not getting them, so why put all your eggs in a basket that has holes in it?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to break.
I agree.
Okay. Sorry. Off my soapbox now. Let's move
All
on.
right. Just a quick hitter, Brandon. The NBA draft occurred while we were on our little vacation. Isaiah Jackson goes in the first round, as many people assumed. He will be playing with the Indiana Pacers.
That's good.
The only other cat selected was B.J. Boston, who many expected might be, potential kind of early second round. A lot of people thought he could potentially sneak into the first round, but he almost slips out of the entire draft, going 51st. He'll now be with Los Angeles Clippers. Brandon, any thoughts on Isaiah or Mr. Boston?
Well, I mean, the fact that Boston slipped doesn't surprise me. I don't know how you watch his year at UK and see how he gets drafted. I mean, if I'm just being objective here, I'm a UK fan. I hope he does really well. So I'm not like hating on Boston. Yeah. I'm just telling you, as an objective observer, I didn't see anything that last year that would have led me to draft him. Calipari must have made a phone call. He probably got a buddy in L.A. Probably the same buddy he's got out in Sacramento that sends all the cats to Sacramento.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's got some connection out there. But I just don't see it, and I know he's kind of been off and on in his game so far in the NBA Summer League. I just don't know. It's just not happening. His high school mixtapes and everything that we've seen from the highlight reels look amazing, and then you see him in an actual game, and it's like, I don't know. He just kind of gets lost. He reminds me of Alex Poitras. Mm-hmm. The guy has the ability, the physical ability to dominate, but there are times you don't even know he's on the floor.
Yeah, that's not a bad comparison. The times that he just doesn't do anything, just kind of blends in. And if you look at, I did a little bit of research just to see the last 3 years of other guys who had been picked 51st, mm-hmm. and I think out of the last 3 years, 2 of the 3 guys who were drafted 51st, same as B.J. Boston, mm-hmm. have played exactly 0 minutes in an NBA game. Mm. So he's definitely got an uphill climb ahead of him. Not to say it can't be done. I mean, he's obviously got the potential. He's got the talent if he can just put it all together. But, man, it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard. You just think, man, that is a kid who, if he had come back, just could have benefited so much from a second year for so many reasons.
His decision was made before he got here. He had a documentary series following him around at UK. He had a plan. All right, people thinking he was thinking about coming back. No, he had a plan down to the point he had a documentary series. And you're not going to extend that documentary series another year in college. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. So the writing was on the wall from the time he got here. Some people just don't need to leave. And he had a plan. He didn't care what anybody said. and I hope he does well. I'm just telling you objectively, if I wasn't a UK fan and I was watching it, I would say, okay, we'll never see that guy again.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. I don't know.
But, yeah, hope it works out for him. And speaking of documentaries, just to throw this out there, great Netflix documentary on the Malice at the Palace.
I heard about this.
Remember the Indiana Pacers Detroit Pistons fight?
Great.
Just watched it last night. Really good. Really interesting.
Don't you get jacked up when you watch that fight? You're just ready to punch somebody. It's awesome. Tyler, some interesting news right before. And listen to this. Okay. Right before we went on vacation, what did I predict would happen, Tyler? We both made predictions.
We both made, and then we were both correct with our predictions.
Correct.
I said Jalen Durham would go to Memphis, and you said, if I recall, is that there would be a mask requirement in Fayette County schools when you got back.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks before it happened, right? Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, it did happen. Governor Beshear announced that basically masks are mandated in all schools. He did this at 4 p.m. the day before classes were to start, which is a smart move for him because he doesn't have to listen to the blowback and doesn't give people time to protest. So kudos to you, Governor Beshear. Very smart move. And then also the Kentucky Department of Education has voted to extend that all the way through the school year as well, which they can amend that later on once once everybody meets in January. But the way the rules work is they have to do it for the year, and then they can scale that back.
Yep.
After January. So I know a lot of people were hating on them for doing that, but that's the process that they have to follow. Tyler, your thoughts on the mandate for masks in schools? You have one that just started kindergarten. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I've got this will be my first year in the Fayette County school systems as a parent. So I now can join you in all these conversations, given a parent's perspective. Also, this requirement also extends to any kid 2 and up, so for preschool. So our 3-year-old is also going to be part of the mask mandate, and we'll have to wear them at her preschool. Listen, I know a lot of people have strong feelings about masks.
You're going to piss somebody off no matter what you say, Tyler. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine, because that's what you and I are 2 registered independents. Mm-hmm. If you listen to this show long enough, we're going to say something that you're like, hell yeah, that's right, tell them like it is, brother. And then if you listen long enough, you're going to be like, that guy's an idiot.
That's what we're going for.
We will say something that you disagree with if you just listen long enough. I am for whatever keeps the kids learning in person, because we have seen, and data has proved this, and we've got to have the kids in school. Mm-hmm. We cannot have more virtual learning again. It just cannot happen. So whatever we need to do for my kids to go to school in person, whether they need to wear a mask, whether they need to have a pet monkey sitting on their shoulder the whole time, whether they need to come in and do handstands, I don't care. You tell me what the requirement is for my kid to go to school in person. Sign me up. I will do it, whatever you want. Just keep the kids in school, and I'm for it. So I don't like masks. I don't like wearing a mask. But does my kid care to wear? My kid doesn't care. We told her, like, hey, you're going to have to wear a mask. Like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Like, does not care in the least. Now, I know as they get to middle school and high school, and we have seen a lot of high school protests. There was one in Eastern Kentucky, I think, at Belfry High School. Kids that are refusing to go in. But I think for the most part, it's not the kids that care. It's the parents who get angry and make it an issue. The kids are fine with it overall, I think. So if the kids are fine with it, just let them wear a mask. Let's keep them there in person, and let's move on.
Yeah,
those are my thoughts.
That's a very fair opinion, Tyler. And just a couple of points. It is tricky because, like you said, the kids don't care, but the adults have seen enough from government and politics to be very wary of things. Kids don't know that yet. So
Fair.
You get what I mean? So it's basically 2 different perspectives. A kindergartner, or like my kids are in elementary school, they don't know, what it's like to have stuff mandated or having, Trump or Biden say something to you and then lie to you. Right. Regardless of what party they all lie to you, by the way. I know this is, should we do another breaking news alert? They all lie to you. So the kids don't know that, so they'll do whatever. If you told them to hop on one foot to school, they'd be like, okay. But, we know as citizens, if Biden told us to hop on one foot to class, we'd be like, the hell's your problem, buddy? I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
So it's just different perspectives. So I think that's one thing. I do agree with you on keeping the kids in school because every study has shown that the test scores have dropped. The test scores plummeted.
Yep.
Fayette County, they plummeted. And it disproportionately has impacted minority students as well.
Minorities, low income.
Yeah, it's been a disaster. So you got to have them there, whatever it takes. And people complaining about it, here's what I would say. Same thing I would say when you're voting for president. Elections have consequences. If you wanted your candidate to win, you should have got more votes. If you didn't want Bashir to be governor, you should have got more people to go out and vote. That's all there is to it. He's our governor, and whatever he says, at least the power that he has, we got to go with it. He ain't going to leave office.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you think the decision for mask mandates should be decided by the governor, or do you think each county should decide what? Because that seems to be a big controversy right now, and what everybody's saying, like, let us decide. It's our kids, it's our community. Let us make the decision. Do you think this should be left up to each school district, or do you think that this should be something that is big enough that the governor just needs to make a universal decision?
It's a tough call. I mean, because at the end of the day, the Department of Education can say that we got to have masks and we're going to extend it through the rest of the year. So it really doesn't matter what your governor says, or each school district says for that matter. You need to talk to your Department of Education.
Yep.
But let's say that that's not the case. It's tricky because we have 120 counties. Kentucky is way different than any other state. We've got way too many counties. Way too many.
We do.
So it makes it hard to have 120 different science experiments. We are in a unique position. Some states have 5-10 counties.
Yep.
So it makes a little bit more sense. 120 different ones is very difficult to navigate, and that's the way our state is set up. So I just don't know that you can do it. You know what I mean? I don't think you can leave it up to each district just because of the way Kentucky is structured. I hate to say that, but it's true. We got too many counties.
Yeah, I'm with you. But like I said, it's really just sad the amount of just hatred and vitriol from people on this issue. I mean, just people yelling and screaming at each other, and you have I think there was somebody at the Fayette County Board meeting who said compared wearing masks to like satanic rituals. I'm just like, dude, we are blowing this way out of proportion, I feel like. Okay, I know it's a government mandate, but like it's a freaking piece of cloth on your face. So, I mean, best case scenario, it helps stop the spread of a disease. Worst case scenario, which I know there are a lot of people who like to post these studies that show that masks aren't effective. I think there's a lot more that shows they are, but I mean, there are studies out there that, have evidence that it doesn't in some places. So worst case scenario, it doesn't do anything, and you're just what you would be normally. So I mean, what is the harm? Is my view on it. What's the harm in it?
Well, it is interesting though. How that we put out a video last year with the Hello Dr. Fauci on CBS News saying that masks do not provide the protection that people think it does. The guy that's been in that position for 20 some odd years.
Yep.
He said that. Okay? It's really interesting how things have flip-flopped. If you'll recall, when Trump was putting through the vaccine stuff, people were saying he's rushing it through. We can't trust this. He's trying to get reelected. Now those people are saying, get your shot. But it was developed while Trump was in office, and you said it was being rushed. And the people that were saying Trump is doing a great job getting this vaccine through, now that Biden's in office, are saying, I'm not getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
if ever there was more a bipartisan event, it's been the vaccine. It was started by a Republican and finished by a Democrat.
Exactly. But it's funny. Depending on who the messenger was, is how the message is received. So I don't think it's the actual message. It's the messenger. If Trump says it, it's listened to. If Biden says it, it's listened to by a different crowd. Really interesting cultural study there. Right?
No
But
doubt.
if you look at it, it's really interesting.
But at least the kids are in school. So
Thank goodness.
That's all
Thank
I'm happy
goodness.
about.
No more virtual school. Do not send my kid home with a Chromebook, please.
All right. Well, on a similar note, Rand Paul has been in the news again. It seems he cannot stay out of it for some controversy or something where he's sticking his foot in his mouth. But have you seen what the latest Rand Paul controversy is?
Yeah, so I heard a little bit about this, Tyler.
So apparently his wife, shortly after things kind of started to go down, maybe like February, March of 2020, she bought stock in, and I know I'm going to butcher the
I
pronunciation.
can't wait to hear you say it. Let's everybody be quiet. Just say it. What is the name of the drug, Tyler?
Remdesivir.
I don't even know if you're right or not.
See?
We'll go with that.
Say it with confidence.
But basically a drug that's used to treat
yes,
COVID patients.
She bought stock in the medicine for COVID. And lo and behold, we are now a year and a half later just now finding out about that stock. And it is supposed to be disclosed by all politicians. Any investments, any stocks that they have put money into, is supposed to be disclosed for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Rand Paul comes out and says, oh, I typed in the information. I thought I hit submit, but I didn't. Oops, my bad. Brandon, are you buying Rand Paul's excuse?
The dog ate his homework.
Exactly.
No,
it's the classic dog ate my homework excuse.
That's a load of baloney. Total load of baloney. I like Rand Paul sometimes. He really runs hot or cold with me. He either hits a home run or he gets hit in the face with a pitch.
He does.
He either pulls a Mitch Williams where he throws it gives up the home run in the World Series, or he's Joe Carter that knocks it out and wins the World Series.
Yep.
There's not a lot of in between with Rand Paul, which I like and hate at the same time. Not a good move. The dog didn't eat your homework. Just fess up. It's tricky because he is, a doctor. I don't know if he's still licensed or not, but he's in the medical community, so he may have had a hint that, hey, this is something that can be treated with this style of drug. Let's invest in it. As a doctor, I don't have a problem with that. I probably invest in stuff all the time. If I see something's going on, I may invest in it. I don't have a problem with it. The problem is the disclosure. Mm-hmm. You need to let people know that. So, no, the dog didn't eat your homework, Rand. Do better.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you thought you sent an email or you didn't click the button? I mean, nobody does that. I mean, it's 2021. I think people know how to use a computer to submit something.
It reminds me of, hey, I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm driving through a tunnel. I'm getting ready to lose you. And you're standing there. You're not going anywhere. I'm driving through a tunnel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, lame excuse, Rand.
Yeah.
You can do better.
I agree.
All right.
All right, what's next?
Moving on, Tyler. West Virginia University is charging unvaccinated students $750 more than their vaccinated colleagues.
Interesting.
That's all I need to say, Tyler. I mean, it's pretty simple. Do you think that
all right,
is a good
now
thing?
You sent me this article, and I read it, and maybe it's been a while since I've read it, but I could not see anywhere what the reasoning was. The name of the college escapes me, but some college in West Virginia.
The reasoning is because it costs more to take care of those students. So they're saying that unvaccinated students have a higher risk of getting sick, thus the university health services are going to be strained and are going to require more help. Okay. So that's where the $750 comes in.
I see. Okay. No, that's dumb.
Why? Why is it dumb? Because we're already saying, there are some places right now saying that if you're not vaccinated, you can't come to our concert.
Yep.
They don't say you can pay extra to come if you're not vaccinated. They just say you can't come at all.
Yep.
Would you rather West Virginia University say, no, you can't even come here?
Yeah, I would just rather them do that, honestly. Like, if you're that concerned about it, then just make it a requirement. Make it an all or nothing. Just to charge, here, we're going to... How do you even put a value on that? How do you even put a monetary amount on that?
It's a guess. Somebody was probably sitting around and saying, hey, Ricky, how much you think that's going to cost? $1,000? It's too high. Let's bump it down $750. Let's not do four figures.
I want to know what the budget was like where they came up with $750. I have a feeling if somebody's in the emergency room on a ventilator, it's going to be more than $750. So it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah, either you're interested in keeping the entire campus safe with vaccinated students or not. Don't go this halfway in between where we're going to charge extra money. So that's interesting. I didn't know how you would go with that. But, that was kind of a quick hitter story, but it's one of those, we're going to see more of these pop up. We're seeing concerts right now that are saying no can do unless you're vaccinated. I mean, there are entire groups, organizations like Live Nation, who is a big promoter for concerts, saying that if you're not vaccinated, you ain't getting in the door. Same with a lot of these big festivals. You can't come.
Yep, and this is a whole other debate, but I'm supportive of that. I have no problem. If you want to make me download an app right now to where I have to show proof of vaccination, I will download it. I mean, there's what they're already doing in a lot of other countries. Where you get a notification on your phone if you are getting close to somebody with COVID.
Yeah, I turned mine off. I got that in Hawaii. They're like, do you want to set this up? I said, hell no.
Oh, did they really? They had that there?
I get that every time I travel, Tyler. I get an
Really?
alert from on my phone that says, do you want to know? And I say, no, I don't want to know because I don't want anybody tracking me. I don't want people to know if I've been around somebody or not because I don't know how deep they're tracking this stuff. So to hell with that. I say no. But, private businesses, we'll let the Supreme Court or somebody decide if this is legal or not to let people in based on their, their health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there are other health matters where you could say, no, we won't let these types of people in based on health status. So it's a health status question, and it's going to have to be answered somewhere along the line. We'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Well, we have talked about some sad issues, of course, all this stuff with COVID, but maybe the saddest news of the week comes from right here in Lexington, and that the founding city for Long John Silver's will no longer have a Long John Silver's. The last remaining LJS in Lexington is shutting down. No more. Brandon, I know you are a big fan of Long John Silver's. If you've listened to the show a while, we did our fast food restaurant bracket about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And you were a huge proponent for Long John Silver's. If I remember, you voted for Long John Silver's over some pretty good restaurants that I told you were crazy for.
Yes, I remember this, Tyler. And I agree. I think Long John Silver's is highly undervalued. However, thinking back on it, I can't remember the last time I've eaten there. But every time I eat there, I come away very satisfied. We talked about health issues earlier. Sweet mercy. I mean, Long John Silver's...
What's killed more people, COVID or Long John Silver's?
I don't know. I don't think Long John's wants that data. But, I mean, you get your extra box of Crunchies, right? So that was just deep-fried particles of just remnants of things that were made. Then you had your Hush Puppies, which were also deep-fried.
Oh, the Hush Puppies, man.
And then you also had your, deep-fried fish or chicken, by the way. Their chicken planks, amazing.
Yep.
So, the only thing that they really let me down on was their fries. I think the fries were the downfall of Long John Silver's.
Really?
Yeah, not good. They were not good. They just didn't stand up. They were always soggy.
They were very soggy.
Yeah,
yes.
You were absolutely it's like they were cooked in a lot of grease or something. Which I know Long John's, you would never believe that. But it's a sad day. There's a Long John's in Whitesburg, and it's still open. It's still alive and kicking.
There is. How about that? If you want to go, usually you can't find anything in Whitesburg. You have to come to Lexington to get it. But now, if you want Long John Silver's, you got to head into the mountains, by golly.
Whoever is in the tourism department in Whitesburg needs to put that in the brochure. That needs to be added.
Hey, we have a Long John Silver's.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Peach Knee-High and Long John Silver's.
And you will get people crossing the border. It'll be like people in Letcher County driving across the border to get to Hazard to get beer. There'll be people on the other side from Hazard driving to Long John Silver's to get Knee-High Peach and go to Long John's.
Yeah, so when is the last time you think you've been to Long John Silver's?
At least 10 years.
How many years?
10 years.
And this is a restaurant that you said you really, really like.
Here's the problem, Tyler. Long John's is kind of like Calipari has been with the number one players in the recruiting classes. I want to go somewhere else, and then I'll drive past the Long John's, and I'm like, maybe I should have went there, but I went to my first choice.
It's always your second choice.
It's always my second choice. So Long John Silver's is comparative to John Calipari in UK. That is how I tie the bow on this whole episode. Do you see that?
That way to come full circle. That's fantastic. So James Wiseman, Zion Williamson, Jalen Duren, and Long John Silver's.
Right in a row. Yeah,
That's great.
I was getting ready to say a mean comment about Zion going to Long John Silver's a lot, but I won't say that out loud. We'll move on.
That's great.
Tyler, this is the part of the show. First of all, before we get into this, follow us on Twitter at LexBuds. Subscribe to us on YouTube. LexBuds.com is the website. We always have snarky comments coming out on Twitter. And as sports season starts to ramp up, Tyler, you can bet your A-double-R's that we're going to have a lot of snarky comments during the games this year.
Yep, we're going to have some hot takes. We're going to say some things where, like I said, you're either going to love them or hate them.
Yeah, we don't care.
That's what we do here.
It's perfectly fine. But make sure you follow us and support us by downloading the podcast on Apple Podcast, Android, wherever you can download a podcast. We're pretty much there.
That's right. And make sure you hit subscribe so that you always get the newest episode as soon as it is released, usually on Monday mornings.
Yeah, we try to have them ready for your lunchtime on Monday, so make sure you check that out. But Tyler, this is our last segment. This is really important. This is what this whole episode has been building up to, and that is you basically sent me a text. I don't know if I was on vacation or you sent this a few days ago. I don't even remember. My timetable's way messed up.
All those Mai Tais kind of blur everything together, don't
and
they?
It's still blurry, which is why my 5K run was so slow at Midsummer Night's Run. But you brought up the guilty pleasures, and we did guilty pleasure music, right?
We already
did
songs, yes.
We did our songs, and I enjoyed that conversation quite a bit. But now we're going to talk about our guilty pleasure movies, Tyler. And I, for one, have a bunch of them. It's hard for me to even narrow them down now, and I actually worry that some of yours are going to be the same as mine. All right? I'm a little worried. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I guess, go back and forth draft style. Let's do draft style.
All right, okay.
Where we do a snake draft. And we'll just talk about our guilty pleasure movies. Do you want to start with our number 1, or do you want to start from number 5 and build up to number 1?
I mean, I think I'm probably going to go with my first ones because like you said, I don't want you to take any of mine.
Well,
so
you
I'm
came
going to
up
go
with the
with my
idea.
best ones off the bat.
You came up with the idea, Tyler. I say you go first. Tyler, what is your biggest guilty pleasure movie of all time?
Okay, so let's first, I think we need to clarify a little bit. When we say guilty pleasure movie, I think we're talking about either a movie that by all objective measures is horrible, that should not be a good movie by any means, but that for some reason you truly enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's option 1. I think the second option for a guilty pleasure movie is just a movie that is embarrassing to say that you like.
Yes.
For, as guys, that's typically your romantic comedies that, you're, as a man, you shouldn't like that movie.
Yep.
If that makes sense. So I think when I'm thinking guilty pleasure, those are kind of the two areas that I'm focusing on.
Yep.
So I'm coming up with my list.
How many did you have on the list, Ty? Because we talked about doing 5. I want to know how many you had.
I started with at least 15.
Yeah, okay. I'm the same way. So
I got it down to 10. I could easily do any 10 of these.
Okay. What do you got? What's your number 1, Tyler? Your biggest guilty pleasure. I want to hear this.
All right. And so for me, I think, okay, what is a movie that if I see it on, I'm stopping to watch it? As also part of my criteria.
Yeah, you have to like the movie, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be something that you continue, it can't be something that you liked as a kid and don't ever watch it
Right,
anymore.
absolutely.
It's got to be something that you still watch. So I'm going to go with my first pick in the Guilty Pleasure movie draft with the Jennifer Garner classic featuring one of the greatest dance routines of all time movie history. Any idea what this is, Brandon?
No.
Maddie, it's Thriller. 13 going on 30.
What?
Is my number 1 pick
What?
for guilty pleasures.
Tyler, I haven't even watched that movie because it looked so bad.
What?
No, I've never
Listen,
seen
it's. I mean, I assume you've watched Big, right, with Tom Hanks.
I haven't seen Big.
What?
I haven't seen Big. I've
my
never watched it. I'm
goodness.
so sorry.
Well, I mean, it's basically Big, only with a female playing the lead role.
Okay.
So she's 13 years old. She's having her birthday party, and it goes horribly wrong. And she just wishes that she could be 30, flirty, and thriving. And and so she wakes up, and she is now 30 years old, and is an ad executive at a like a cosmopolitan type magazine. And so she has to go through life and realize she's become a complete jerk. And she is not the 13-year-old that she once was. And just a great perspective on how so many things that kids do are better than what we do as adults. Going back to our mask discussion, how kids don't care about wearing masks, but the adults make it an issue. When this girl was 13, she had life figured out. She didn't know how good it was. And then she becomes an adult, and it's not quite as great. But let me tell you, since you've never seen it, you need to YouTube the Thriller dance video from 13 going on 30.
Tyler, I'll do that right away.
It is a classic.
Okay, I will do that. Oh, you know what else is classic, Tyler? Is my number 1 pick.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that you know what my number 1 pick is. Because it's
I
my
already
favorite
know.
movie of all time.
I already know.
Yeah, and this is a movie that is over 3 hours long. And at one time, Tyler, I watched one of them starting at 12 o'clock. The second showing came on at 3:30 on HBO. I stayed up at 3:30 a.m. and started the movie again and went to bed at like 6:30 or 7. That's how much I like this movie. My heart will always go on for Titanic.
Nice.
Titanic, the historical accuracy of the characters in the movie is fantastic. If you actually study Titanic, I'm a big Titanic fan.
You're a historian of the Titanic.
Yeah, I have been fascinated with it since I was younger, the history of it and all the pieces. And then to actually see them on film is absolutely amazing. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet just knock it out of the park. They're fantastic. as they bounce around between all these other historical figures that if you go back and look, they are real people. And they actually look like the people if you go back and look at the old photos. And, of course, it's got the soundtrack song with Celine Dion. For Pete's sake, when you hear that little flute,
it gets you jacked up hearing that flute.
Jack, see, Jack, that's his name. Right? It gets you jacked. It does get me jacked up, Tyler.
Nice.
It's a great movie. I like the old lady in it. I like how she drops the necklace in at the end, and then that last scene where she goes to sleep, and she meets Jack again at the end at the top of the steps. I mean, I'm getting a lump in my throat.
Oh boy,
that's a tough one for me to get through.
I will say the best thing about Titanic is that we can now use the GIF of the lady saying, "It's been 84 years."
Yes.
So, like, we can say, when's the last time Kentucky won a national championship or made a Final Four? It's been 84 years.
Oh, yeah. It never gets old. And now we have the clips from the UK games, like the Missouri game when we hit that last-second touchdown pass, where it's got the Titanic music at the end, and then when it goes to the crescendo, it's like you caught the pass. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic. It is a timeless movie. You know what's going to happen in the movie. The boat sinks. We all know that.
Yep.
Yet
Spoiler.
it's still a fascinating movie. You know what I mean? So I'm going with that one.
Yeah, I agree. I do also like Titanic. I had the VHS. It was so long it had to be on 2 VHS.
Please
tapes.
Insert cassette 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Now, Tyler, I'm going to go with my second pick. We're doing a snake draft here.
So I'm going to go ahead.
So I'm going to go with my second one, and this one gets me a little emotional too. Okay. It gets me a little emotional. It hits me right in the heartstrings. This is a movie that I rented with my wife. We were both watching the movie. She fell asleep. I didn't want to watch it. Okay, I thought, my God, this is gonna be the worst night ever. I can't believe we're watching this movie. So we're sitting there on the couch watching it. I look over and I'm about to lose it. I'm like about to lose it, but I'm like, I can't cry. Kayla's gonna see me. And I look over and Kayla's passed out asleep. She didn't even watch the movie. And I was sitting there watching. I was all invested in it. And Tyler, that movie is The Notebook.
Oh, wow.
It just really gets me in all the feels. You know what I mean? I don't care what people say. People are going to watch this video and they're going to say, "I've never listened to this show again. Brandon is a complete loser." And that's okay. I'll stick up for The Notebook every day of the week because the ending scenes are traumatic to me. It absolutely kills me. I'm not going to give away the movie, but it's just
yeah, it's only been 20 years.
It's only 20 years, so no spoilers. But it's very traumatic, at the end. And then the story all along the way about how they were always pulled apart just really upsets me. I've watched that back to back easily 10 times.
So you're telling me now, as we go through this, the majority of my picks are, I think, what would be considered as chick flicks. But I think The Notebook is another level. I mean, is there a more sappy movie
No, that's it.
ever created in the history of cinema than The Notebook?
It's more sappy than Titanic, which was my first pick. The Notebook really hits me, and I get really angry. It takes me through all the emotions. It takes me from anger to frustration, anxiety, happiness, and then just complete trauma, followed by sadness at the end. It hits everything like in a full circle. You know what I mean?
I did not see The Notebook coming,
Well,
I'll be honest.
I'm just telling you.
And I also did not see your wife falling asleep.
She fell asleep. I was trying to hold it together.
That is the ultimate girl movie. I don't know a single girl who does not love The Notebook. And your wife fell asleep.
She's the one that picked it. I was totally against it. I said, okay, it's your night to pick a movie. She passes out, falls asleep, and I'm trying to hold it together. I look over and she's asleep. Oh my God. And I'm just like, how dare you fall asleep?
Well, has she since watched it, though?
I don't know. I don't even know, Tyler. But that's my second pick. What do you got for your second?
Okay. All right. My number 2 pick in the Guilty Pleasure movie draft. I'm going to give you another quote. I'm going to do this for each one. I'm going to give you a quote from the movie. You tell me if you can guess the movie.
Okay.
All right. Here's the quote. "I'm down. I've got the 411, and you are not going out and getting jiggy with some boy. I don't care how dope his ride is."
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes. There we go.
Now, wait a minute. How is that a guilty pleasure movie? That is a good movie.
Well, I mean, I agree with
It's
you.
a great. I watch that every time it comes on. It's got Heath Ledger in it.
But, I mean, apparently my wife kind of rolls her eyes at me anytime I stop on TV. I'm like, oh, yes, 10 Things I Hate About You's on, honey. It's like, oh, seriously? Like, you're a guy. You should not be this obsessed with 10 Things I Hate About You. But I will make the argument. Heath Ledger is phenomenal
Oh, he's great.
in that movie. I know people love him in The Dark Knight, and
For good reason.
rightfully so. But I'm putting his performance in 10 Things I Hate About You right up there. I mean, the Oscar nomination should have been there years before.
You're pushing the envelope.
Okay, maybe a little. Maybe I'm stretching a little thin. But you've got the lead character, Kat, played by
Katniss Epperson.
Yeah, I don't remember the actress's name, but just
Everdeen.
No, that's the Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, that's a Hunger. There's some vodka.
That's
in this
a different Kat.
Yeah, that's Kat. Yeah,
but I mean, just a very strong female lead who doesn't take any crap from it. There are not many actors who could have pulled off a believable high school student that could have won that girl's heart, because she was fierce. She was cold.
He was.
It took some extreme charisma. And I mean, Heath Ledger just oozes charisma. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, he looks like he's 23 years old in the movie. He's supposed to be in high school.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, the dude, I mean, just phenomenal performance. And as I get older, I now sympathize much more with the dad who has the two girls growing up, and he doesn't want them to go out and start dating. I'm like, that's totally going to be me in 10 years.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to happen.
I'm not going to want to let my kids out of the house.
I always like the secretary in that movie where she's trying to write these erotic novels. You know what I mean? She's sitting there typing things out, and she's got kids coming in.
Yes.
I always thought that was really funny for some reason. But
I think it's a hilarious movie. And I'm impressed. So you're a fan of 10 Things I Hate About You as well?
I think it's great. I absolutely love it.
All right.
Very good movie.
Okay, all right. That's good. I thought you might make fun of me for that one.
I will.
I have a feeling you are going to make much more fun of me for my number 3 pick.
Oh, okay. I'm interested to hear this one.
Because this is a movie that, by all means, there is no man on earth who should enjoy this movie.
Okay.
It is actually a Disney movie. And here's my line. See if you can guess.
Okay. Is
this a habit of yours, falling off of stuff?
Oh, I've heard this. Can you give me a clue? Like another clue? I know this, Tyler.
It is kind of a satire, I guess you would say.
No, go ahead. What is it?
Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey.
Daggone it, Tyler. I don't know. I've heard this line before.
I'm going with the Disney classic Enchanted.
Yeah.
Which starts out as a classic Disney movie. It's a cartoon when it starts out.
Sure.
With the, damsel in distress who's waiting to meet her Prince Charming. And then, of course, there's a wicked queen who comes and casts her to this unknown universe, which turns out to be New York City. And the movie switches from cartoon to real life. Mm-hmm. And it is basically, it just kind of pokes fun of all the classic princess Disney themes, to where she just instantly meets her Prince Charming, falls in love, and lives happily ever after. And then she gets to New York City, and this guy's like, hey, you met this prince one day, and now you're getting married? Like, didn't y'all go on any dates? You're like, dates? What's a date?
That's a very good impression. I really like that. That's very good.
So I think I just love the satire of it. The musical segments are great. Just kind of the whole Disney kind of poking fun at itself. And I think it also sets the stage for Frozen. Because you look at Frozen.
Yeah, I see where you're going from with that. Okay.
The princesses who, are like, hey, we don't need a guy. We're independent. We don't fall in love after one date. I think Enchanted, with no Enchanted, there was no Frozen.
Wow, that's a bold statement, Tyler.
Probably not true, but I'm going with it.
Frozen's a great movie, by the way. Hopefully that's not on your list, because it's not on mine, but just a great movie. Now, Tyler, I'm going to move on to my number 3 pick, and this is one that I doubt that you've ever seen. And I'll go straight up and tell you this one may be the most embarrassing one.
Okay.
All right. And I say a line from this movie all the time. I quote it all the time.
Okay. What's the line?
And I don't know why. That's all.
That's it.
That's the line. And you got to say it like that. That's all.
I got nothing.
Tyler, this is Meryl Streep in a fashion movie.
Oh no.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh no.
Tyler, this is a fantastic film.
The Devil Wears Prada?
Have you seen it?
I've seen it.
Tyler, this is a great movie.
Oh.
I think Meryl Streep does a great job. And I don't know that I've watched or liked any other Meryl Streep movies. But this is another one that I think Kayla rented, And I was like, oh my God, I'm watching The Devil Wears Prada. I think I may just want to jump off a cliff. Start watching it. I'm like, I can relate to Meryl Streep. I like Meryl Streep. So I do this all the time.
You're like Michael Scott. You thought she was the good guy.
Exactly. I loved it when it was referenced in The Office. That was great. But, you know, when they're done with a conversation, when she's finished talking, she just says, that's all. And everybody just goes away. I love that. I say that all the time. So when I'm at home and Kayla and I are discussing things, I'll say, that's all. And then I'll just walk. I do it all the time. She hates it. But I do, not during an argument, but just for fun.
Yeah, I would hope not.
Yeah, that's all. Because if I said that during an argument, trust me, that wouldn't be all.
It wouldn't go over well.
No, but I love her character. And I like every character in the movie. I like the whole just arc of the movie. I like every character. Even the side characters are fantastic. I just like the story. I think it's really good.
Wow. I'm going to tell you, you are surprising me, sir. I did not see Devil Wears Prada and The Notebook coming from you out of this.
Well,
and I will say, I didn't like Devil Wears Prada.
What didn't you like?
At all.
What didn't you like?
I did not like it at all.
Really? I loved it. When
No.
it's on, when I saw that it was on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I was so jacked up. I was like, this is going to be great. This is going to be great.
All right. Well, did Kayla at least stay awake through that one?
She did, yeah.
Okay.
She likes that one,
That's
too.
good. Okay.
It's a good movie. Now, Tyler, with my fourth pick, since we're doing the snake director here, fourth pick is a movie that, going back and watching it, is probably one of the worst acting performances in cinema history.
Oh.
By almost every actor in the movie. There is no scene that has a redeeming quality that would ever be nominated in the top 200 scenes in that given year.
Okay.
It is horrendous. It is rancid. It is nasty. Okay? But it's a movie I've watched probably 200 times, and when it's on, I watch it every damn time. So this is a movie that you and I watched quite a bit growing up.
Oh, okay.
And I'll give you a clue. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Let's see if I can get this. Let me put my thinking hat on.
He shot me in the prune.
Oh, oh.
That's all right, officer. He got me in the prune.
Because he's got the prune in the pocket of his shirt.
Yeah, come on, Tyler.
Oh.
It's got Michael Richards in it.
Oh,
John Ritter.
Problem Child.
Problem Child. Yes. An absolutely terribly acted movie by every member of the cast. Not a lot of redeeming qualities. The kid is a total a-hole, and not in a good way where I could even get behind him.
Super annoying kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just not good. It's like, you know, the Game of Thrones, they had the kid that was the king.
Yeah.
And you hated him.
Joffrey.
King Joffrey. But you still like the show because you're like, all right, he's an a-hole, but he's a really good, like, quality actor. Yeah. He was good. This kid annoys the hell out of me. I wanted to punch him in the face. Absolutely terrible. And everybody in the movie, the comedy was terrible.
Very cheesy.
And it was just terrible. Terrible film all the way around.
But yeah, you continue to watch it.
If it's on right now, Tyler, I would get up from the table from the show and go watch it or put it on so we could watch it together.
So what is it that you enjoy? Because you've said by every measure it's terrible. So what makes you enjoy it then?
It's in the category of so bad it's good.
Ah.
And I think John Ritter has redeeming qualities. People like John Ritter, even when he's in bad films.
That's true.
John Ritter's just one of those guys.
Yep.
He can get away with it. I let that one slide.
Did you like the sequel, Problem Child 2?
Tyler, that was on my list as well. And it's an even worse movie, okay? It's even worse, but the problem is I personally don't like it as much as the first one. So by all accounts, Problem Child 2, although I've seen it a ton as well, I can't put it above Problem Child 1 because I've watched that one more and I like it more.
I got
So if it's a guilty pleasure, Problem Child 1 gives me more pleasure. So I got to put it in there.
All right.
Does that make sense?
That's good. Michael Richards was great, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's terrific.
Smiley pie.
Yeah.
I haven't had a smiley pie in years.
One of my favorite scenes, and then I'll let this one go, is when Michael Richards comes over as the convict.
Yeah.
And the wife goes in, I'm going to go check on the meatloaf, and he's sitting there eating away. He's like, I'll give you a hand. And then they go in and just start making out, and like the pots and pans and stuff are rattling, and John Ritter's just sitting there like in a comatose trance. Totally stupid.
Yeah.
The whole movie is stupid, which is why it's on my list.
The wife totally had the Peg Bundy theme going on there.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Are we to me now? Is it mine?
Yeah, this is your fourth pick, Tyler.
Okay. All right. I have gone heavily strong chick flicks, romantic comedies in my first three picks. So I feel like I've got to do one here to kind of redeem my manhood a little bit.
You need to do something.
I do. 13 going on 30, 10 Things I Hate About You, Enchanted. Not going to get much as far as my man card, so I'm hoping to get a little bit of that back.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the line. I think you will get this one.
Okay.
Bert, they're under the ground. They're under the ground.
Tremors.
Tremors.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you, the first time I saw the movie poster for Tremors, I remember it vividly. It was hanging up at the movie theater at the bottom of my hill at the Making Mall.
What a mall, by the way.
Oh, the Making Mall had it going on. Like you weren't anybody unless you're at the Making Mall on a Friday night. But Mountain Video,
dang right,
just a few steps from my house, which was great as a
beautiful
kid.
Thing. Yeah,
I saw this poster with like 5 people standing at the top, and you can see under the ground they're standing on this gigantic worm-shaped monster with these massive teeth that is barreling towards them, about to eat them. Very similar to the Jaws poster.
Yeah, you have a fascination with those types of movies.
I do. There's something about creatures coming at me from below that is just somewhat terrifying. I don't know what it is, but you're absolutely right. I love Jaws. I love Tremors. There's something about not being able to see the monster or whatever it is. But Tremors is my number 4 pick. Kevin Bacon, who is in every movie.
The dad from Family Ties.
Yeah, the dad from Family Ties. I don't think I could name another person.
Reba McEntire.
Oh, Reba McEntire played the wife. That's right.
That's right.
Absolutely cheesy. In the movie, they called the monsters graboids, which I'm like, who came up with that? What a terrible name for a monster to call them a graboid. Like, the writers for that were top notch.
Now, I love that movie though. I've seen it a ton, and if it's on, I'll be honest with you, I'm watching it.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. If it's on, I'm in. It doesn't matter at what point. Any point in the movie, you can just turn on Tremors and
it's on.
You're good. You're good. Your night is set,
yeah,
my friend. So I'm going Tremors number 4. I think you don't have too much criticism with that one.
I like Tremors. Just like I like 10 Things I Hate About You. I like that one. But you like Titanic, too, in my list. Now, the other two you've given me total hell for.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's what this list is for, Tyler.
It is. Now, going back to my 5th pick, I'm reverting back to my romantic comedy ways.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this.
This is another movie with a number in it, oddly enough. I've chosen a lot of movies with numbers.
Okay.
And here's the quote. Let's see if you can get this one.
Okay.
Can Princess Sophia come out and play?
Princess Sophia. I don't know.
The movie, Kate Hudson, Matthew McConaughey.
Daggone it. What is it? Daggone it. I know this
Got a number in the title. Nothing?
Is it How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days?
There you go.
Okay, I was sitting there. I was trying.
You got it.
I've seen that movie.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Of course, that quote is when Kate Hudson plays a woman who is writing an article about all the things that women do wrong in relationships. And she's attempting to turn this guy off and make him break up with her in 10 days. Mm-hmm. Coincidentally, Matthew McConaughey has a bet with his friends that he can make a girl fall in love with him in 10 days. And the odds of these two people just happening to meet each other in all of New York City, of all the bars, just so happens these two people who have these personal agendas going on just happen to run into each other. I mean, only in Hollywood.
Literally, only in Hollywood. That's where they made the movie. You know what? To be fair, it's a good movie. It is a good movie. It's hard for me to criticize that. Matthew McConaughey, one of my favorite actors.
Love Matthew. I love anything Matthew McConaughey is in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's a good movie, Tyler. Slightly embarrassing. I mean, I will say that is embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
It is definitely a hard chick flick, no doubt.
It's a chick flick. But I was trying to make you feel better.
But I love Matthew McConaughey, and let's be honest, Kate Hudson, yow.
Yowza. Which one are you more excited about, Kate Hudson or Matthew McConaughey?
That's a coin flip right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. That was I didn't see any of the movies that you mentioned coming. None of them. All the ones you mentioned, I'm just shocked by. So run through your list one more time.
Okay. So I had my 5 guilty pleasure movies. I got 13 going on 30. 10 Things I Hate About You. Enchanted. Tremors. And How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Those are my 5. You still have one more pick.
I got one more, Tyler. And this, I'm going to a different category. I'm going to disaster movie drama.
Ooh.
And I'm going with a movie that I watched today.
Oh, wow.
And actually, I watch it almost every other day because it's so bad.
Every other day.
And I'll explain why I watch it every other day.
Okay.
This movie's about 2.5 hours long. It is absolutely ridiculous. There are so many coincidences in the movie that it makes me want to vomit. All right? You know what I mean? This movie is about a year that happened 9 years ago. What year was that?
Let's see, 2021
Little math.
minus 9. Let's see, carry the 1. 2012.
That is the name of the movie, Tyler.
Oh, really?
Have you seen it?
I've seen maybe 15 minutes of it, and that's about all I could watch of it.
Yeah, Tyler, it is a terrible movie. Everything in it is there's so many coincidences. Like right before the guy gets the phone call from his son that the world's getting ready to end, coincidentally, his band is playing a song, It Ain't the End of the World.
Well,
the guy escapes from an airplane that is going down 3 to 4 times in the movie. He almost falls off a cliff, I don't know how many times. He navigates through a crumbling city in a car. There are so many coincidences that it's ridiculous. They drive a car out of a landing airplane into a valley of snow and avoid the plane crash. There are so many things in it that make me sick. Now, with that said, I watch it every other day. You want to know why?
I would love to know why.
Because, first of all, it's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good. The acting is terrible. But it's one of those movies that's a good timer for me, 2.5 hours. Because that's how long it usually takes me to edit a video. Okay? So I sit there and I watch this putrid movie in the background while I'm editing a video. And my goal is to have a video edited before the end of the world.
Okay.
So I know, based on what scene it's in, how far I have left, based on the end of the world countdown clock.
Was it is 2012? Is that like when they were talking about it's based on like the Mayan calendar or something?
Yeah,
that the
basically,
world's
it's a
supposed to end?
geological thing. The
Okay.
world has an end date, and the Mayans came up with all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
But an absolutely terrible movie. The acting is horrendous. The story is terrible. The special effects are god-awful. There are no redeeming qualities in it whatsoever, except for the fact that it's a good timer for me to use in video editing. Because it's like my count. Do I want to watch a clock here on my iPad that counts down how long I've been on, or do I want to have an exact 2.5 hour clock to the end of the world?
Yeah, I
You
feel
see
like
where I'm going there?
There's got to be better 2.5 hour movies. I feel like
But
that you could do this.
No, that's the thing, Tyler. Is if I got a better movie, I would lose focus and watch the movie.
I see.
This movie sucks so bad that I can play it in the background with a timer to the end of the world and not worry about having ADD and actually watching the movie because it sucks so bad. So in that sense, it gives me pleasure because it's a timer that I use for my videos.
So I think basically if all workplaces across the country just had 2012 playing in their office, we would be much more productive workers.
It works for me, Tyler. I'm just telling you. It's an awful movie. But to go back through my list, Tyler, number 1, Titanic. Number 2, Notebook. Number 3, The Devil Wears Prada. Number 4, Problem Child. And number 5, 2012.
What a great list.
It is a great list. This was a fun discussion, Tyler. I didn't see any of those coming from you.
Nor did I I definitely did not see Devil Wears Prada and The Notebook coming.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Those took me by surprise.
I feel like we know each other a little bit better now.
Yes, and now we have embarrassed ourselves for all future generations.
Yeah, let us know on our Facebook page whose list is, I don't know, better or worse. Which
Yeah.
one's more embarrassing, I guess would be.
Yeah.
Which one is more embarrassing, which one is more guilty, and which one is more pleasure? That may be a good one.
Sure.
Which one's more guilty, and which one do you get more pleasure from?
I like it. We'll
Yeah.
we'll put this up to a vote. We will post on social media. So again, make sure you follow us on Twitter at LexBuds or on Facebook or the IG, the Instagram. We'll put these up and let us know what your guilty pleasure movies are.
That's your homework.
We would love to hear them.
School's back in session now, Tyler. That's your homework for the show. Right? What is your guilty pleasure? I'd like to know. This has been an interesting episode. Our first one back in studio in weeks
Yes.
because of travel and lots of other things. So I think it's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. Anything else you have to say, Tyler? Should we wrap a bow on this sucker and call it a day?
Let's do it. This has been fun, man. Hopefully we will be doing this regularly back in studio, in person, and getting more content out to you. Thank you for listening. Make sure you follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
Do all that fun stuff. That helps us out. And again, we really appreciate all the support so far. And we will see you on the next episode. Stay classy, Kentucky.